This is Lone Star Community Radio on 104.5 KCZW LP Conroe and 106.1 KZCC LP Conroe and worldwide at irlonestar.com.
Shall we begin? Let's begin now.
Hello and welcome to the Ticket Stub. Connor, Dick, and Chris in studio here in downtown Conroe, ready to talk movies. Thanksgiving, our bellies are full. I'm looking a little plumper than I did last week, but we're glad to still be here with you guys. We had a little snafu with the posting of the live episode last week. If you were listening at noon on Thursday, but it's posted now on Facebook on podcast feeds. The YouTube videos in the process of coming up, so those will both be available soon. If you didn't watch the YouTube, Dick lost his ever-loving mind last week.
He certainly did.
It was worth it.
It was worth
Imagining Chris over here, a little tickler.
Yeah, golly, man, that was like simultaneously a low point and a high point of the show all at once.
A low point.
Well, it was a low point because of, I think, the dark, kind of creepy corner that we were finding ourselves in. Just imagine, the tickling. It went to a really interesting spot.
Okay, well, like I said last week, to each his own.
To each his own. Anyways, welcome to the Ticket Stub. We're coming every Thursday live at noon on 104.5 and 106.1 FM here in Conroe. You can also listen live on irlonestar.com. And then we have every podcast feed available. You can find our podcast each week. YouTube, that one takes a little bit of time to get turned around, but it's always available sometime within the week. And we also are available on Facebook, the Ticket Stub Podcast, Twitter at _Ticket Stub. Please follow both of those things because that has been the primary avenue that we are giving away 2 free tickets to the Grand Theater every single week, and we'll do so on this show as well. You can also always email us. We don't get a lot of email love, but if you ever want to send us a kindly worded email at theticketstubpodcast at gmail.com.
Kindly worded.
Kindly worded, please. I'm sensitive. When I read those emails, sometimes I get a little sad. But Chris, how you doing today, man?
Doing well.
How's the theater been this week?
Very, very busy. Very busy.
Which is good, right?
Yes, it's great.
Yeah. It was Black Friday. Did y'all make it into the black this year?
We sure did. Yes, it was our busiest day of the year so far. So,
what's hitting hard right now? What are people really lining up for?
Justice League, Wonder, Coco. That movie's doing really good. Really, really good.
Yeah, that's one of the things I was, if we have a little time, I wanted to talk about Coco. Like, maybe it's not a surprise, but kind of a surprise that it's been so popular. I don't know. You've been talking about it, but me and Dick have been over here going like, really, Coco? I don't know.
I did not say anything like that.
Yes, you did. One time you didn't even know what it was, right? Or you were like, why would people want to? You said something about Coco one time. Dick said, I hate Coco. Yeah, that's what it was.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think something
exactly
like
what I said. Verbatim.
Yeah.
I hate Coco.
Roll the tape. Let's hear it.
So,
all right. Well, Dick, how you doing, man?
Doing good. Had a good Thanksgiving, and yeah. So I'm still kind of recovering from the Hallmark movies we had to watch for this week's episode, and then I watched Bringing Down the House with Queen Latifah and Steve Martin.
Wow.
And so I wanted to talk about real quick. I want to ask the audience. You can feel free to chime in. Is one thing they did very well in that movie is they made racism funny, and not in a sense of
never mind.
Well, no, because I was watching it with Holly, and I was like, today's movies they would never try to challenge this. Because they made a lot of jokes about her. There's a whole scene with her wearing a maid's uniform and serving them, and there was a lot of, like slavery jokes being played in it, and the whole family's like, I can't believe this old lady's saying this stuff to Queen Latifah. And Queen Latifah's like, she has the knife behind her, and she's like doing all the kind of the jokes. I was like, I wonder if they would do these today, because a lot of people just don't want to even find humor in that kind of stuff. Because they played on it. Like there was a whole scene with Steve Martin dressing up like a gangster and talking like a gangster in the club.
Well, I mean, they made a movie like a year ago where Will Ferrell went to jail, and it was all about Kevin Hart teaching him how to be like black and thug and everything. Get hard.
Yeah.
And I mean, the joke there was that Kevin Hart was super not gangster. He was like a really uptight, kind of a dude, anyways. But so I mean, I think those jokes can still be there. I don't know.
The movie did it well enough to where it flowed well into the movie. It wasn't like such a standout thing, but it just got me thinking towards the end because they're friends. They're both of them. Queen Latifah and Steve Martin become friends, and there's no romantic thing between them. But like I was just like, it's kind of funny that
would be an odd couple, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
If they got together romantically, Queen Latifah and Steve Martin.
I believe it though. Well, I thought Steve Martin was old. He's not old.
Is he not?
No.
Well, it's just because he's white haired, I guess.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Because I asked Holly, I was like, "Have you ever seen Steve Martin without white hair?" And like, as long as I've known him, like Three Amigos, Father of the Bride, and then Parenthood and stuff like that, he's had silver hair.
Yep.
So I don't.
Yeah. At what point do you get to become Queen Latifah?
That was
that's a
her
good
stage
question.
name. I actually read about her after I watched the movie because she
Okay.
was she was funny as hell in it. And
But like at some point you're not Queen Latifah, and then do you declare yourself the
no,
queen?
that was her rap name.
Oh, she was a rapper.
She was a
wasn't
rapper.
She?
Yeah,
I
she had a
forgot.
feud like Tupac and the other guy.
And
I
the
don't know
Queen,
who-
Biggie.
and Biggie. Yeah, like there was a legit beef with. That's how she became more popular, is because she had beef with somebody, and yeah.
So she declared herself queen.
Yeah,
Okay. Well, I'm also now.
that's
king,
how the rap
so-
game works, man.
Yeah, my rap. Yeah. Okay.
You know that?
I guess your rap career really takes off when you get a nickname, royalty, something
Yeah.
like that. Yeah, Prince.
Sorry, I just wanted to tell
How
you
about
about
that?
that.
Well, he's not a rapper.
Oh, well, that's a good point. He's not with us anymore either. Okay, well,
or is he?
or is he? Yeah,
might
he's
be.
bringing down the house. So, Dick, was it good, bad, middle?
Oh, the only reason I brought it up because it made me think about the racial jokes, and I mean it was constant throughout the movie because that was kind of like the premise, and it just made me laugh because I was like, they would never do anything like that today.
Yeah.
I don't think they would.
Well, who knows? They do a lot of things. We're going to talk a little bit later in the show about Lifetime movies. Each of us watched.
Not Lifetime, Hallmark.
I'm
Huge
such a-
difference.
Yeah, I'm such a fool. I keep saying Lifetime. I actually typed Lifetime here. Hallmark. Each of us watched a Hallmark movie because they do a special Christmas 5 movie rollout over the last week, and I'm sure they'll be playing them.
There's new ones.
There's more than 5.
Oh, well, like, they did that for Thanksgiving.
Okay.
I'm not kidding you. This is the whole deal, and like I think the reason they did the twin movie is because if you watch their advertisements, because they have 2 Hallmark channels now. One's like mystery and
I saw that.
and something, and the other one is like the traditional Hallmark. And I was like, that's probably why they made the twin movie that premiered.
The mystery.
Is for the advertisements they have 2 versions of her talking about each one.
Oh,
And that's
okay.
I think that's they have a little strategy here. I was very impressed.
So there's more than 5 Christmas movies on the
Oh
Hallmark.
yeah,
Okay.
the new one comes out December 2nd.
Well, my ignorance continues to show here that I don't know much about all this, but I did watch one of them. Each of us watched a different one. We're going to spend a fair amount of time. I could probably do the whole show just kind of going scene by scene through Finding Santa.
Definitely.
We're gonna have to contain ourselves a little bit.
I'm
so
so
that
excited.
yeah, can't wait. And then we're also going to give some tickets away at the end of the show to the Grand Theater. I did want to, I unfortunately, the week that we're going to take all this time rewinding these Hallmark movies is the same week that I was on break and then on vacation. I saw a ton of movies. So I wanted to real quick, rapid fire. Dick, you already talked about one. Chris, I don't know if you saw anything else. I'm just going to, rapid fire some movies that we've maybe seen over the last week that aren't from Hallmark. So have you seen anything besides the Hallmark movie this week, Chris?
I saw Rocketeer.
Okay,
The
Rocketeer.
Rocketeer, like Disney's The Rocketeer.
Yes, Disney's
Okay.
The Rocketeer.
Okay, well here, let me go first because I got 3 that I'm going to run through super fast. They're all in theaters now. I'm going to do one, then you can do Rocketeer, and then we can hop around like that. Justice League. Saw it. It's big. Everybody's trying to go to it right now. It's the DC, DC's take on the superheroes gathering together. Have you had a chance to see it?
I haven't had.
You
no.
sold 1 million tickets, but haven't had a chance to go in yourself.
Not quite 1 million for that.
Not quite.
It would be nice if it was a little bit busier. But
yeah, it hasn't been as busy. I think probably
No.
the reviews probably haven't helped, huh?
Yeah, it didn't help really. No.
Yeah, Dick, have you seen Justice League? No. Yeah, I don't know why I asked about the theaters with you. But, you did see Queen Latifah's very timely movie from 1994.
No, I think I really want to keep the idea of the last movie I saw in theaters was the Emoji Movie. I really like that
Just go
idea.
to the grave. Go to the grave with the Emoji Movie as your
Yeah.
last one in theaters.
Well, I got a quick question. Sorry to do
Okay,
this.
go.
For Chris.
Yeah.
I guess I'm going to save it later.
Save
All right.
it. Save.
Okay.
All right. Justice League. Some quick take. Not very good. Best part of the movie was getting to see all the superheroes together. So that was really probably my favorite thing.
Were they holding hands?
Yeah,
singing songs?
above their heads in unity, singing "Peace on Earth."
No, did you hear the original Batman theme or?
I didn't hear it. No, like no. To be fair,
What's the original one? Sorry, just to clarify. Wait,
the
are we?
1989.
Okay.
Danny Elfman Batman.
Well, maybe I don't. What
That's
is
not
it?
really
How
the
does-
original.
I'm supposed to sing
Yeah.
it.
No.
No,
Is it that one?
That's the TV version.
That's the TV one.
That's
yeah.
what I
okay.
thought of when
With
you said the
Adam West.
original.
No,
I was
no,
like,
no,
how do they
it's
get
the-
that?
Well,
in
maybe
there?
they did
No.
play it, and I just didn't recognize it. So it's probably in there.
Okay.
To be fair, I wasn't totally tuned in.
Didn't they squeeze in the original Amazing Spider-Man jingle into the movie? And
I don't know.
I didn't see.
They
I
did.
didn't.
No, they did. Yeah,
Yeah,
they did.
They put Spider-Man in Justice League?
No, in the Spider-Man movie.
Oh, okay.
Because it's a really hokey song. It's like Spider-Man.
Yeah, I know that, yeah.
And like I was like, how the hell do they fit that into a movie that is somewhat trying to be serious?
They should have done like a punk rock remake of it or something. But as Justice League, all the heroes were together. That was kind of cool to see. The Flash was good. I really liked the Flash. He was kind of quirky and weird and goofy. Superman, kind of unfair to have Superman in movies, honestly. Like he's Superman. So when he comes on the scene, not really a lot that can defeat him, right? I know that there's a whole comic world built around him, like losing his powers in different ways. But the villain was terrible. Snaggletooth, Step on Me, Steppenwolf, something like that. I don't know, but it was lame. Very very forgettable. I mean, I know he was like the ruler of galaxies and everything or whatever, but the CGI wasn't real good.
Yeah, I heard that was bad.
Yeah, the CGI was pretty rough, and it was like a lot of CGI. The entire backdrop.
One character was CGI.
Oh, the cyborg dude?
Yeah.
I actually kind of liked him. He was pretty cool. He was like, go gadget arms and stuff, and they would turn into, it was kind of.
Oh, that's what they need another one of.
Yeah, well,
Inspector Gadget.
There we go.
Yeah.
What was kind of cool about Cyborg or whatever his name was is that he didn't even know his powers. That was one thing I liked. Like he was kind of discovering himself, so he wouldn't know that all of a sudden he could like do these cool things that would just happen. That was kind of neat. It was, it wasn't like the worst movie I've ever seen, but definitely below average. It's just, man, DC cannot get it together. They can't make it happen. So, anyways, Justice League. All right, Chris, what do you got? Rocketeer?
Yeah, I saw Rocketeer, 1991. Billy Campbell, Jennifer Connelly, Alan Arkin, and Timothy Dalton, James Bond. So I got a running theme.
There you go.
So no, it's a great movie. It's kind of slipped through the cracks over the years as far as a Disney movie goes. You just never see it.
I've never seen it.
Like it advertised as a Disney film, but it's basically the plot is a guy finds a experimental jetpack. And he becomes the Rocketeer flying around saving people. And
Is it the only Disney movie that has a Nazi in it?
There's probably some like old ones that they're like trying to bury with Mickey Mouse or something like that.
Yeah, I think 101 Dalmatians had one, right?
No, Gorilla DeVille.
No, I know, but
You're trying to say she was a Nazi?
no. I'm just saying I seem to recall a couple. Beauty and the Beast had one too, right?
A Nazi? What are you talking about?
I feel like you're messing with me.
No, but Shrek for sure did. I know.
Well, that wasn't Disney.
Oh, okay, DreamWorks. Okay, yeah. Well, we know DreamWorks are neo-Nazis. Okay, so Rocketeer, is it good? Is it bad? What?
Oh, it's a great movie. It's great.
Have you seen it before?
Yeah, the score's great. I'm not sure who did the score, but the special effects for the time period are really, really good.
It's live action?
Live action, yeah. And basically Billy Campbell plays a pilot, and anytime he's flying an airplane, the cinematography is just awesome.
Yeah.
Like, especially for, that age. They had great camera angles on the planes flying around. It was really, really cool. It still holds up really well.
Is it available? How did you see it?
I saw it on Hulu.
Okay.
It was free with the subscription.
Perfect. All right, Dick, anything else you want to talk about?
I saw Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
Oh, man.
Yeah, there's a secret out there. Somebody borrowed my PlayStation, and they left all their signed-in accounts on it.
Ooh.
And
So
so,
now you have
I
access.
just kind of just playing around with it, and then I saw, oh, look, Amazon has all these movies he bought, and Guardians of the Galaxy was definitely one of them.
Yeah, what did you think? Did you like it?
Not really.
Okay.
It was...
Did you like the first one?
Yes, I think what that movie was missing was the bad guy the world didn't seem big enough. Because if you think about all the characters you saw, there was only like 10 actors in the movie. And that was it. And it wasn't like world scale. They kind of did some scenes where like the Earths and stuff were being destroyed, but especially towards the end when they had that funeral for that one character, I didn't really get the backdrop to that. And I didn't know that was like the normal thing for a funeral. So I didn't really care. And that was like 10 minutes of the movie about honoring this guy. I'm like, but no one cared about him in the other one. Like, what? So that kind of threw me off. I think they did the world building in that one was not as good as the first one.
I just remember Kurt Russell. I just didn't like him. The whole storyline kind of missed for me.
Yeah, well, especially they did really well of making him really young at the beginning. That was kind of creepy. How good that was. I don't know if you saw it, Chris. Did you see that movie, Chris?
I didn't, but I heard about that specific
yeah,
thing.
it was
looked really good.
But I mean, the soundtrack was great, but outside that, it just kind of fell flat to me. It didn't seem very tight. And
yeah, it had some of the remnants of the first one and why it was so good, but it didn't connect. In the same
jokes
way.
were good, and probably the highlight was that big guy the big blue guy who just laughed the whole time. Like,
Oh, it's what's his, the wrestler?
I mean, whoever wrote,
Dave Bautista.
yeah, whoever wrote that script for him, that character, because his jokes were perfect.
They were great.
And I was just like, this guy keeps hitting it and hitting it.
Well, I think they realized in the first one he had a couple lines that they probably didn't think were going to be as great as they were, and then they really hit and were crowd favorites. And so I think in this one they went all in on him. They're like, all right, we're going to make him like a centerpiece of comedy for this.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we got to go to break, but right before we do that, I saw 3 billboards outside Ebbing, Missouri. I was really excited about this. Really excited. Martin McDonough, who had done In Bruges and he'd done 7 Psychopaths, whereas 2 movies before. Really liked those. Was excited. The preview looked great. The preview made this look like a funny dark comedy, and it really kind of wasn't. And it had a couple laughs.
I heard great things about it.
Well, I don't know from who, man.
It's
but
coming to the Grand this weekend.
Hey, well then go see it, everyone. It's
Yeah.
awesome. What I would say is it wasn't bad. It was like 20% worse than I wanted it to be. You know, like it was
What'd you want it to be?
I wanted it to be really like it's 95% Rotten Tomatoes or something. Like I wanted it to be like a really good
Like
Oscar
There Will Be
worthy.
Blood.
Well, obviously not like that probably, but I wanted this to be like one of those movies. I'm like, that was one of the best movies I've seen this year. Maybe that's an unfair expectation.
I thought it was going to be like a Coen Brothers movie.
No,
But it's not.
No.
Like the way...
I can see that. It's got kind of a feel. It's got Frances McDormand, who they've used her before. So,
But it meant more with the plot and the humor. Like to
Yeah.
me, that's what it had, a serious undertone, but to deliver the movie, there's some humorous elements to it, especially like putting 3 billboards up saying, all those kind of things.
well, and that's kind of Martin McDonagh's other movies have had that same kind of thing. But I will say Sam Rockwell, in my mind, he's one of the most underrated actors. I love Sam. Like every role he's in, he's in this, and he's great. He's like a racist. He's kind of terrible, but he really takes kind of a cool journey throughout the movie. Also, I saw The Star. If you're a Christian and
nice.
like animated movies, you might want to go.
Whoopi Goldberg? Oh my gosh!
I went with my nephew to see The Star, Tracy Morgan. A lot of people I didn't know. I'm not sure that you have to be a Christian to be a voice of The Star. I don't know. Maybe you do.
What, you mean the actors and actresses?
Yeah, the voice actors.
You don't have to. They're getting paid.
Well, I know.
I love Tracy Morgan.
I know. Hey, he was funny in this. It was cute. If you don't want to watch a movie about the birth of Christ from the perspective of a donkey, then I would say stay away from The Star. But if that sounds like something that you're in,
What a great sell.
Is this one of those
That's a great
movies?
sell.
Is this one of those movies that they made like 6 years ago? Because a lot of the cast lists were like
No.
real popular 5 years ago. Like I'm talking just like in the mainstream popularity.
well, they probably got them because now they're available at the Christian price.
So it was produced as a Christian film.
Oh yeah, I mean it's all about the birth of Jesus and Mary and Joseph and all that kind of stuff. I mean it's basically the nativity story through the perspective of a donkey. And like Keegan, Michael Key or whatever from Key and Peele, he's a main character. So I think it's got to be contemporary. But it was cool. I mean, if you're into that, you'd like it. Little kids love it. It's Christmassy. Gets you in the the reason for the season and all that great stuff. But anyways,
Reason for the season, man.
thank you, Dick. All right, we got to go to break. When we come back, we're going to gear up talking about Hallmark movies. We each saw one. I anticipate this to be.
You ready to go on a train ride?
Yeah.
Because I did. I went on a Christmas train ride.
All right, well, more of that when we come back.
A Lone Star Community Radio is looking for those who are interested in hosting their own talk show, with monthly and weekly slots available on Conroe's FM 104.5, 106.1, and on irlonestar.com. Start your own podcast, create your first YouTube channel, and be on TV. Contact Lone Star Community Radio online at irlonestar.com or call the station message line at 936-647-3776 to take your first step into the radio world.
Hey guys, I'm Joey Savage.
Corey DLG.
We are Nerd Thug Radio. Catch us every Monday from 1 to 3 and check out our website, nerdthugradio.com.
We like to talk about quilting, horseback riding, and baking quiche.
Actually, we don't, but we do like talking nerdy to you.
That's right. Every Monday from 1 to 3 p.m., hashtag talking nerdy to you.
Let's begin now.
And we're back here on the Ticket Stub. If you're just tuning in with us, you missed us talk rapid fire rewind. We went through like 6 movies. Normally we talk like 3 per show. We've already done 6. We got several more to go. We're going to be talking about Hallmark movies. If you don't love a good Hallmark movie, then I don't even know what to do with you right now. But apparently Hallmark has a huge lineup of Christmas flicks.
They have like a 13 Days of Christmas now.
So is it a new movie each day?
That's their deal. So I don't know if they're running Christmas movies
That's like a
24/7.
weird number to choose. 13 days of Christmas.
Yeah,
Well, I bet
lucky
you-
number 13.
Yeah.
12 days is probably even patented or something.
Oh, it's like a baker's dozen.
Yeah.
You know, we're gonna. Hey, you only go 12 days of Christmas. We get that 13th day. That's
Right.
when the real stars come out. Well, before we hop into the Hallmark movies, I wanted to talk briefly. The Avengers: Infinity War trailer came out.
Yeah.
I mentioned Justice League and how it was kind of a flop. This trailer looked pretty sweet. I don't know. What do you think, Dick? You said you got to see it.
I just it's really hard to do all those plots and stories coming together into like 2 hours. I don't know how, like the first Avenger movie, I didn't like it because there wasn't a plot. I felt like we just saw them fight one thing the whole movie, and I'm like, I just couldn't have the compression, like the decompressed times.
It's like too much was happening.
Yeah, I mean, I think really what they did is they don't want to do love stories. They kind of do, but they don't dedicate enough time to it or character development, and that's one thing I think they lack a lot.
That's almost what the separate movies are for, right? It's almost like you have a Iron Man movie so that you can develop Iron Man.
Yeah.
So that in Avengers you don't have to waste your time developing Iron Man.
But they
you
should
just fight.
They should still they need to have it cohesive enough to where as a fan of the comics and things, it's like, all right, so this is just pure action for 2.5 hours.
Yeah,
That's what it is.
So Chris, you didn't see the trailer for this. Basically what it looks like is this guy Thanos, who I think has been roughly mentioned in a few of the other Avengers movies. He's like he kind of looks like Hellboy.
Yeah,
I actually thought it was Hellboy when he first popped on.
If you've seen Guardians of the Galaxy, he is the dad, the surrogate dad of Samora,
Yeah,
the green girl and the
yeah,
blue girl.
yeah.
And so that's how they connected that world. And then he was also the main reason he gave Loki, or he gave the Cube. The Cube was originally
He gave it to Loki.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He's
so whatever. He has this like golden chalice glove, not chalice. He has this golden glove, and he's gonna put all these little Infinity Stones in his knuckles, like how like gangsters get tattoos.
Oh, like bling it out?
Yeah, he's gonna bling it out,
Okay.
man. Got to, right?
Yeah.
And then apparently when that happens, he has like all the power. I guess each stone. I did a little Wikipedia. Each stone represents like mastery of a subject, like time, space, whatever. I don't know whatever other ones.
And
there
they
are.
didn't really cover that in the movies.
No.
So.
If you've just watched the movies, you have no idea unless you Wikipedia'd it like I did. And so when you get them all, you have mastery of. You're basically like God at that point.
So it's like time, space, American history.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay,
The
okay, I got
three
it.
pillars.
I got
yeah,
it.
the three pillars
I
is
got
what's
it.
important. So he'll have
Wasn't that in Doctor Strange? Wasn't it towards the end? That's how he was able to do that?
Dude, Doctor Strange was so freaking weird. I couldn't really keep track of what was what. I was like watching a kaleidoscope, and it was cool, but I don't have a lot of memories from that. Distracting when Doctor Strange appeared in whatever that most recent movie that I watched. Which Avengers would that have been? That has just recently come out.
Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah, Thor Ragnarok. Doctor Strange is in it for like 12 seconds, and it's really distracting. But they're just trying to tie that thread.
Well, I mean, I think that's what they're really banking on Infinity War, the Infinity Wars, to bring people to the theaters and just be a blockbuster and just have all these names. Because kids age from 5 to 18 are going to go see this movie, and just because
and every nerd under like 50 will be at the movie too.
Yeah.
and me.
So I know Chris is really happy about it.
Yeah, I am happy. I didn't see Thor Fraggle Rock, but I think
Yeah.
it obviously did really well. So
Would you see a Fraggle Rock production of Marvel?
are you kidding me? Absolutely.
That is what we're missing.
Yeah.
That is what we're a puppet rendition.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're missing. Yeah, Jim Henson Studios, if you're listening.
That's the way
Which
to
you
do it.
are.
I mean,
It
I
should
think
be.
Marvel has a price now.
Yeah.
Like if you approach Marvel and be like, "Hey, we want to make a version of Daredevil," how much money will it cost us for licensing?
Yeah. They probably
They have a
all that
price.
All right, we're gonna hop in. Dick, we want you to start. So you're gonna
Okay.
talk about your Hallmark movie. I've got Lifetime written everywhere. We're gonna talk about your Hallmark movie, and then we're gonna go to break. And then when we come back, Chris and I are gonna be rewinding our Hallmark movies. So Dick, tell us a little bit about the ride you took on the Christmas train.
So first off, I want to tell people this was the Hallmark Hall of Fame, the Christmas Train.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
Okay,
It's a big
So
deal.
I learned after the movie that the Hall of Fame is a series Hallmark has been doing for about 60 years. It's one of the longest running programs on television, and what it is it's just high production value, higher production than their normal Hallmark movies. And it usually involves really big actors. I encourage, if you want to do some trivia, that'd be a great place to find some trivia questions, because they had actors like Christopher Walken, Glenn Close. Let's see. That's only two I can think that were in a movie together, because those are pretty A-list actors to me. And this was in the year 2000. So those they're pretty big during that time. And there's a bunch of Oscar winners in there. And then my favorite thing are the directors, because the directors like of this movie, he directed this guy Ron Oliver. He didn't write it. He just directed the Christmas Train. I believe he did a couple episodes of Goosebumps and Are You Afraid of the Dark.
Wow.
He did a bunch of kid stuff. So I was like, why the hell would he be doing this movie? So Christmas Train. Okay, here's the cast list: Dermot Mulroney, Kimberly Williams Paisley, Danny Glover, Joan Cusack, and then another person you might not recognize, but she's been around, Jill Teed.
She's from School of Rock, right? She's like the principal on School of Rock.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, and I didn't recognize her because of how much thicker she's gotten. But I was
how
like,
dare you?
Well, the only reason I remember her because she was in an episode of X-Files, and that's the only reason I remember her. But this movie takes place on a train, and
really,
you know, we were doing that beverage game.
Yeah,
and it said like one of the things was there was
explain this. Yeah, there was like a Coke drinking
beverage game.
Yeah, a beverage game.
Yep. And basically, they had a lot of rules on it that it's for Hallmark dedicated only movies.
Would you have died of alcohol poisoning if you'd actually played this game?
See, this is where I had an issue because a lot of
you weren't drunk enough.
Well, no. It's
the movie got way better.
This movie had like almost halfway on a couple of the points that you drink a beverage. Halfway though, and it's like you could argue if it's a full like, yeah, I get it, or I don't. Like for example, main character's name is related to Christmas. It's not, but there's another character on the train whose name is related to Christmas. So I was like, does that count? Does it count? I don't really know. And then, yeah, it's just kind of like, what is a near miss kiss? Because there was a scene.
Oh, mine had one of those.
There was a scene where the train bumps
had like
and they fall into each other.
That's a near miss.
Oh yeah.
Did they stare longingly into each other's eyes?
That's what it was.
Just like that.
Just like that.
Man, I'm gonna have to go back and watch this one. It sounds pretty good.
But
so why don't you tell us a little bit about it? We know it's a Hallmark classic, and
it's a Hallmark
we know
classic,
the history lesson.
And basically the story is Tom Langdon, Dermot's character. It's a writer. He's been a writer for 40 plus years. He's been a journalist, hardcore war, but now he just kind of writes for fluff stuff. And he made a promise to his dad to ride the train and write a story about it. And the point I was making on this beverage game is one of the points was an obvious product advertisement. Mm-hmm. This whole movie is basically telling you ride a train because trains are going to be obsolete. I mean, there was like pretty much throughout the movie, each character on the train goes, "You never would think about traveling on a train because it takes too long." Why are you riding the train?
So do you think like Big Train is paying?
Well,
Hallmark
I found out. I found
Yeah.
out, and it got me interested because you see this logo, and I thought it was the Bank of America logo. Because all everyone's jackets and hats and everything, but it's Airmark, not Airmark. Who's the train company? Do you know
Union
what I'm talking
Pacific?
about? No, train. It's not. It might be Airmark.
No, that's like a food service company.
I know, but there's.
Okay, well, whatever. There's a train company logo on everybody's stuff.
Yeah, and it's whoever does the
Amtrak.
Thank you.
There it is.
Thank
Nice.
you. So Amtrak's all over this movie, and I would not be surprised if somehow they had some influence on telling people to ride a damn train. Because the whole movie, I'm not kidding. Everyone's like, "No."
Did they play that 80s? Come on, ride the train.
No.
Come ride it. No, that's a missed opportunity right there. Maybe a licensing thing.
The movie is a typical Hallmark movie, so if you're going to watch it, don't expect something special. And
Don't expect quality.
One thing I want to ask you guys, was everybody in your movie really nice? Like every single person.
Well,
that
except for the curmudgeon. Right? Everyone's really nice except for...
No, even in this, like the villain was nice. And it was, I mean, like I was sitting there and I thought about it. I was like, is that what Hallmark is? Like that's why people watch it, is because they know it's going to be 100% clean, 100% enjoyable for like all ages, no conflict, no problem.
There's a lot to be said for that, I think.
Yeah, because there's a lot of characters in this who in any other movie would be just a butthole or no. Like one woman, her name Agnes, played by Joan Cusack, she was nosy to the point where she was listening to people's phone conversations all over the train. And I'm like, all right, the first time, I get it. But, like, after you catch the person doing it 3 or 4 times, you get really annoyed, and that'd be real rude. But no, that's Agnes. I mean, my favorite thing was...
that's Agnes.
Well, my favorite thing was all the actors had that line of, "Oh, Hodgins, Like everyone had one for different
Hodgins?
people. Well, yeah, one of them last name was
That's
or
awesome.
Higgins. Sorry,
Oh, Higgins.
It's like Higgins, but no one knew each other. So by the end of the movie, everyone
classic Higgins.
Yeah, no, I'm not kidding you. It was like perfect, and and that was one
That's
of the
just Higgins being Higgins.
the creepiest thing about this movie was how within the first 20 minutes of physically being on the train, Dermot's character knew everybody. He wanted to meet everybody on the train, and it was to the point where it was obsessive. And I was like, man, wouldn't that be creepy if some dude just
Maybe he
kept
had like
coming to see you?
Asperger's or something, you know, and like it was like his thing was.
Well, he
had
was
to-
doing his research. That was kind of the plot movement. Is Danny Glover plays a director, and his writer is Kimberly Williams Paisley. So he wanted to write a movie on a train. So they're on the train doing research.
Is he with Dermot Mulroney?
Well, no, Dermot Mulroney's separate.
So there's
but
a writer and there's a director on the same train.
with a writer. So there's two writers on the train,
Okay.
and they end up knowing each other from the past. And the twist, I will not ruin it for you.
Please do not.
It's one of those twists that I was like, really? This is what they're doing? And then they did it.
They fall in love and get married and then realize they're siblings.
Well, actually, that's what.
That would be a dark.
That's what I thought. I was like, are they gonna do something right here?
Oh, wow.
That'd be a dark turn.
Because on the train there was a couple, and the couple throughout the whole movie was like, it was really suspicious of why they're getting married, and they kept leading like, oh, our parents won't support this marriage, and then they kind of lied about little different things. It's like, are they gonna say they're related because they're from Kentucky? Like, what's gonna happen here?
Yeah, where's the train originate? Like Arkansas?
No,
or-
it starts in D.C. and so it goes all the way to L.A. The whole train ride. So
Does it stop ever?
yeah, they have to make stops,
Okay.
and that's why I had to ask my parents went on a train ride from Louisiana to Washington D.C. and I was like,
Was it the Christmas train?
it was a 2-day trip for them. I was like, so when they stopped, did you actually have to get out? Because a lot of the scenes take place outside of the train. And I was like, that seems kind of like inefficient. No wonder trains take so long. You have to have a 2-hour wait, and like you think it would just be one clear cut, but because it was a 4-day train ride.
Yeah.
That's what they said.
Sounds pretty long.
Aramark. But overall,
Not Aramark.
overall, I think the production value was really crappy, and
Yeah. Was it beautifully crappy? Like,
yes, it was almost like it was a playbook.
did you watch this with Holly?
No, I watched it by myself. It was a playbook
Seems
crappy.
like a wasted opportunity, man. Talking about date movies, right?
No, I'm pretty sure she's gonna record like every single Hallmark movie
Gosh,
over.
your life's gonna be miserable
It's,
for the next month.
Well, I mean, I'm not opposed to watching these because things like the beverage game, that to me is really funny because it really is on point. The beverage game is on point with like how when it snows, when somebody I think my favorite one was when the misunderstood villain comes into the Christmas spirit, and because like they had that in this movie, but he wasn't the villain. And it wasn't really played off of like he didn't really have Christmas spirit to start with. And they said like, oh, Mr. I believe it's like Mr. Steve or whatever found his Christmas spirit. I was like, when did he not have it? He's literally reading a Christmas story on the train ride. The whole.
So it makes you think that when they're making this, they either have like 9.
They have this
like
list.
9 like kind of categories, and they're like, okay, we have to fill all of these things, or the people who make the drinking game are the writers of the
Yes.
of all the movies, right?
Yes.
But the fact that everything you've said has existed in my movie and Chris's movie, as we're both nodding, makes me think that they must have like 10 tropes, and they're like, okay, we have to fill the Christmas guy who doesn't really have spirit but finds it at the end.
Yeah, somebody though. Somebody like it could be the minor is a minor character, and that's like in our movie. In this movie, it was like I
had no reason to be there.
There was no reason but to make that point.
I wonder if they're so like whitewashed and nice because the audience, and we have to go to break, but the audience is like moms who spend all day telling their kids like, be nice, don't fight, everyone get along. And so maybe like their mindset is so much of that like when they watch a movie, they're like, yeah.
See how everyone treats each other?
That's right.
You see how everyone treats each other in this movie?
Yeah.
Everyone's overly nice. They do all this good stuff.
Except for the one guy, but then he's nice at the end because he also knows that you should be
He's
nice.
just misunderstood.
That's right.
And like there's always someone reinforcing that throughout the whole movie. He's just misunderstood. We'll get him there.
Classic Higgins.
Yeah, I'm not kidding you. When every character did that, I laughed because it was like, oh, Higgins. Like, did they know each other? Like, what is
Goodness. All right, the Christmas train sounds good. We've got to go to break. When we come back, Chris watched something about twins getting mixed up. I watched Finding Santa. We'll talk about those here when we come back on the Ticket Stub.
Lone Star Community Radio presents the Lone Star Radio Troupe. This talented cast will perform radio plays right here in the Lone Star Studios located in downtown Conroe. There will be a new performance every first Sunday of the month. And if you missed the broadcast, just go to Lone Star Community Radio's podcast or YouTube anytime during that month. Go to ourlonestar.com archives to find the Lone Star Radio Troupe's latest play that's available. This is Lone Star Community Radio, Conroe's 104.5 FM and 106.1 FM community station. Find us on the web at irlonestar.com. Lone Star Community Radio is a supporter to the performing arts in Montgomery County, Texas.
Lone Star Community Radio is looking for those who are interested in hosting their own talk show with monthly and weekly slots available on Conroe's FM 104.5 and 106.1 and on irlonestar.com. Start your own podcast, create your first YouTube channel, and be on TV. Contact Lone Star Community Radio online at irlonestar.com or call the station message line at 936-647-3776.
We're back on the Ticket Stub. Again, if you're just tuning in, we want to remind you that we are every Thursday at noon on 104.5 and 106.1 in the Conroe area. You can also listen to us worldwide on irlonestar.com. Our podcast is available on every podcast feed. Please subscribe so you get it auto-downloaded to your phone or your computer, however you listen to podcasts. And we have a YouTube video that comes up within the week, so you can watch, you can see all that great stuff. We have a Facebook, the Ticket Stub Podcast. We have a Twitter at @the_Ticket Stub. And those are the primary avenues through which we give away 2 free tickets to the Grand every week. If you are hearing this show and you are not following our social media, you are missing out on free movie tickets that you could be having. You could be seeing Chris at the Grand. He will sign your popcorn.
Yeah, I'll do it.
He will do it. Test him. See if he won't do it. And that would be a pretty special thing, because when this podcast blows up and we're super famous, that signature is going to be worth some money.
So, hey, sorry, before we get back into the Hallmark, I had a question for Chris.
Yes.
And I want to be able to just get it out real quick.
Just get it out.
Were there, for Coco, I've been reading there's a lot of complaints about the short from Frozen being played.
It's like so long, right?
Apparently it's like 30, 40-minute runtime of like commercials, everything. So like when some theaters have been reported that when they post the runtime in the paper, it's plus 30 to 40 minutes, then the movie starts.
Well, that's correct. And we tried to advertise it pretty well that there was a short in front of it, but it somewhere got lost in the communication.
Why is it so long?
So I don't know. That's a Disney deal.
Is it just Frozen? It's basically
it's just like a little Frozen short about Olaf the snowman.
I know in the past they've done shorts like before like Despicable Me and stuff. DreamWorks will do a short, and before
usually it's like 5 minutes or less.
Yeah, it's a short.
Yeah.
But apparently with the commercials, with the trailers, with this short, because this short runs like 12 minutes, I think.
Something like that, yeah.
Like 15 minutes or something like that. But apparently, people were apparently real pissed. And I was just wondering if you had that complaint at all at the theater.
There was a few folks that were just confused. I wouldn't say it was a complaint, but just
like, am I in the right movie?
Right,
because I've been in this theater for 30 minutes and nothing started.
Right. Yeah.
Well, I think when you take a little kid to the movie, you like instantly, you're on the clock as soon as you sit down. Like, I have 90 minutes until this kid freaks out. So, it's like I'm trying to get in and get out and have somewhat of an enjoyable time. Anything that adds to that might be hurting the cause. I don't know. So be warned, buyer beware if you're going to Coco.
Yeah, I was wondering.
Actually, I think it's off this Friday, so it's just straight up regular movie now.
Okay, so the Coco will be there, but the short will be
drops off. Yeah.
Okay, well then
is that actually like a PR reason, or is that because?
No, it's just they were going to do it the first week, I think, and.
Okay, so don't worry about it. Never mind.
After that.
All right, Chris, Hallmark.
Yes.
What'd you see, man?
Okay.
Look, let me say, I can't do an assignment like this again.
Was it too much?
Oh my gosh, it was. It took me. It's a 2-hour movie. It took me 3 days to watch it.
I watched it. You know what's funny is I watched mine with Hallmark commercials. I didn't say that, but I didn't realize I recorded it. So as I'm watching it, I was sucked into these Hallmark commercials because they go in commercial break. I was like, "There's commercials during this?
Yeah.
I thought this was like a special presentation," but I was wrong. It was all Hallmark commercials.
Yeah.
No, I was fast forwarding through the commercials.
Were they Hallmark commercials?
Yeah, they were. Yeah.
Okay. So those are special kind of commercials.
This took an emotional toll on you.
Yeah, it did. Well, anyway, it's called. I lost a bit of my soul, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah, it's called Switch for Christmas. So it's basically, I got this synopsis written down, but I'll just dumb it down for everybody. Look, it's two sisters.
I know it's a high concept, so please simplify it for us.
It's two sisters who are twins who are tired of their lives, so they decide to switch them up for Christmas.
No. Okay. Wow. Whoever makes these titles is on point. Christmas Train.
What's great about that movie
Switch for Christmas.
That premise. Imagine doing like a rated R version. You can get real dark with it.
They have like
Because like if they're both married, it's like, all right, so what can we do? Can't we do?
Yeah, you got to set some ground rules. I bet they don't explore that in this movie.
They don't. I wish they did, but they didn't.
We gotta make it interesting. Sleep with the other guy.
Yeah.
That's what made Multiplicity so good.
Yeah.
So what hijinks ensue?
Well, it's Candace Cameron Bure. She plays twins Kate and Chris, and Kate's a big-time architect in Denver, and Chris is.
She was always jealous of the Olsen when they were in Full House.
The Olsen twins.
Yeah, she was always jealous of their twinship.
Right. Yeah.
You know what's interesting though? I realize in all Hallmark movies, the main character has an interesting job that somehow is tied in to the storyline.
Yes.
Somehow.
Okay.
It definitely was.
So what's her job?
Well, one of them is an architect. The other one's an art teacher.
Oh, wow.
In Littleton, which is a suburb outside of Denver. And I did MapQuest it, so they weren't playing around
I have
with
a friend
that.
that lives in Littleton.
Well, there you go. That's legit. But so I wasn't really into the movie when it started. In the opening credits, they play the Christmas song "Baby It's Cold Outside."
Okay.
And I wasn't into the movie, so I was just kind of listening to the lyrics. That song is extremely creepy.
Oh yeah, it's been known.
Oh,
it's been known how
creepy.
it's very hands-on.
Like, she's like, "What's in this drink?" That's what she says.
And it's like, "Don't leave."
Yeah, it's like
it's cold outside.
It's like Bill Cosby's favorite Christmas
Oh
song.
my gosh.
So I was like, well, that didn't start
Harvey
off
Weinstein.
good. Yeah, but I mean, the plot is extremely thin, obviously, with little to keep you interested. Each sister finds a love interest that at some point.
No
so
way.
they're both single.
Yeah, they're both single, but one's got kids.
So they both fall in love with like each other's friend or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. So, but the guys
they have to reveal
think
it. Yeah,
the guys think it's the other.
Yeah,
sister.
but how weird is that? Because that means they've loved the other sister for like a long time, unrequited, and all of a sudden now they think, oh, finally she's paying attention to me.
Yeah, but it's the other one. Yeah, no, I know.
I don't think I'd actually be that mad about it, honestly. If they were twins,
as long as they look the same.
I mean, I liked her because I thought she was hot, and now it's her twin sister who's even maybe more cool than she was.
Yeah. Well, see, I will say this though: whenever the twins are on screen together, and it's one actress playing both characters, it is absolutely seamless.
Really?
It's better than a Hollywood movie.
Okay.
Like they'll touch each other. They'll don't even. No.
Wait,
like hold hands. They'll hold hands.
Chris,
okay.
was there any tickling in this movie?
There wasn't any tickling, but they hold hands. Like they want to put the head on the other shoulder, or they'll cross in front of each other. It's seamless. You can't.
Well, you know she has a twin.
Yeah, well, it isn't. She doesn't.
No, she does not.
So great special effects there. But I got confused when they were like quick cutting between.
You didn't know You didn't know who was who.
Yeah.
They needed like a scarf or something on one of them.
Yeah. So I got confused. Like it was not done as well as the movie Twins with Arnold Schwarzenegger and Danny DeVito.
Okay.
Like not at all. Like I could clearly tell when they cut between those two. I knew it was going on.
They helped you know which twin was which in that movie.
Yeah, I could tell the difference. But this, I really couldn't. So
okay.
Well, how would you do that as a filmmaker? Would you just say one's in like a hot climate, one's in a cold climate?
Put like a hat on one. That's all you have to do is have one
it
that's
has to be like black hair, blonde hair, or something. Which she had the same hair. Both of them had the same hair, so it was confused.
Well, she wasn't going to cut her hair for this stupid movie.
Yeah. My favorite scene though. There's a scene
Would
where.
she though?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. Well, there's the scene where one of them is cooking in the kitchen with their budding love interest guy.
Yeah.
And the guy takes like a handful of flour, and it's like a montage. They're all laughing. He takes a handful of flour and he throws it right in her face.
Yeah, we used to call that antiquing in college.
I think that's one of the beverage
exactly.
drinking things.
And she sits there and giggles.
No, it's not funny. That's terrible.
No, I know. If I did that to my wife, she would straight up stab me in the face immediately.
If she could see you.
Well, we know your wife has some homicidal tendencies already.
Right, exactly. So, the dialogue of the whole movie is really boring, but the production value is pretty good. But I think I've invented like a new genre for this movie because you got horror, romance, Christmas movies, whatever. This movie I think is a background movie.
Okay,
that's the genre. So it's something like if you work for like a company that goes in and cleans up after somebody's been murdered. Yeah. You just kind of have it, on in the background. It's just playing in the background where you're mopping up the blood and stuff like that.
Does it have to be a murder?
Whatever, like cleaning up after a fire.
Can I tell you something?
Something like
Does
that.
it have to be a disaster?
I think it should.
Okay.
Yeah, it
Chris,
should. Yeah.
When I emailed you guys over the Thanksgiving break,
Yeah.
I went to go get barbecue in the small town. They had the Hallmark Channel on, and that's what reminded me to respond, like to get you guys. I'm sitting there, and I was like, "What is this playing in the background?"
Yeah, exactly.
I look over, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh!"
When you
Hallmark
said
Channel.
background, I was more thinking like it's a harmless movie that anybody could have on in the background of a business, and it wouldn't offend anybody.
Well, I'm thinking of cutting the tension because of the sadness.
Okay, so like if you're mopping up blood, it would be like, oh, ha, 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 there's a Hallmark movie.
I'm
that
telling
we
you,
can watch.
everyone's too happy in these movies.
Very happy. All right, Chris, any other thoughts about Switched for Christmas?
I wish I could have that 2 hours back.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
You didn't enjoy this?
Oh no, it's rough.
Mine was like 89 minutes. Was yours 2 hours?
With commercials.
I'm gonna do the Beach House.
You're gonna,
in April, the new Hallmark Hall of Fame. I'm gonna do it.
This is gonna become like a segment, Hallmark Hall of Fame.
Because they threw that at the end of mine, and I was like, "Oh, I'm on board." Like, I'm gonna do that.
Well, I figured out that the login I use to watch cable, since I don't own cable, is a Hallmark participant.
Yeah.
So I've got access, and also I watched mine on YouTube. Apparently, it was the rush to get mine up to YouTube, so I watched it on maybe a bootleg account or whatever.
That's
so
great.
There's someone who really thinks that we need to be watching that. All right, well, it's my turn. I watched Finding Santa. Now this is starring the least known or the least cared about Full House participant, Jodie Sweetin. I actually can't remember her character's name. I was trying to think.
Stephanie?
No. In this movie, in the Christmas, whatever it's called, Finding Santa. Her name was probably used a lot, but it's hard to really keep track. I'm just gonna kind of go through my points. If y'all want to hop in here, please feel free at any point. She's in a small town, runs a year-round Christmas store in the town. It's kind of like she's like super obsessed with Christmas. It's one of those annoying things where like everything she does, it's like, oh, you want some hot cocoa? Oh, here, have a sweater. Okay. Like every joke, everything, every reference is Christmas related, which is kind of what you were saying, Dick. What happens is she also hosts the parade. Their town is famous for their parade. Every small town is famous for parades, right? Like going to be on national TV. They have a, Good Day, LA or whatever person coming out to film it. Her Santa slips in the most ridiculous scene of all time. It's like a Scooby-Doo where his legs are like, I'm like, why did it have to be so stupid? I guess to laugh, maybe. I don't know. But he trips. He's this old, he's not just a Santa. He runs a Santa school in their small town.
A Santa school?
He trains Santas, which I didn't know was like a thing. I thought
mall Santas?
Yeah, or whatever.
Okay.
Or like parade Santas, I guess.
Okay.
I just thought it was like overweight men with white hair that were like, oh, I guess I'll turn this into a job, right?
Yeah.
But he trains them. And so he falls and breaks his arm. For some reason, that makes you unable to be the Santa in a parade. Like, all he had was a sling. He was very involved in the plot of the movie. So it's not like he was bedridden or anything like that. Like, he was around all the time. He just, I guess, couldn't do the parade. The town, apparently, all the Santas he works with are so skilled that they're booked. Yeah, they actually say that line. Like, it's a shame your school is so good because all your Santas are booked solid through the holidays. Okay. And so they do a great interview montage of the other Santas. And I'm thinking, like, you couldn't find a guy who's like normal that could just wear. Everyone, of course, is like totally a wash up that they interview, right? And but you find out that Santa has a son who graduated from Santa school, but has turned his back on the Christmas spirit and refuses to associate with Christmas because he wants to choose for himself. He doesn't want to just take what his dad passed down to him. So he decides.
Now, why does he not like it?
Because it was force fed to him from the time he was like 0 until he was old enough to choose for himself that you're going to be a Santa. Everything's about Christmas.
Okay.
So he he rebels and he wants to be a rider. What's great is that he's an Uber driver. They keep referencing rideshare because they can't use like Uber or Lyft or whatever.
Right.
So he keeps saying like, yeah, the rideshare business is really, Christmas is huge for rideshare. Oh, you want to call a ride for our rideshare? Like they can't use a product here. So anyways, music, every song is like a version of a Christmas song. Did y'all notice that in y'all's? Like the background music, it would always be like, Here Comes Santa Claus, but like kind of a jazzier version of it.
There was a Christmas train song about riding the Christmas train, and I was convinced, I could not find it. I was convinced it was sung by Dermot Mulroney. Because I was like, this guy really can't sing. Who is this?
Okay, so here's a great part of my movie. The main girl, Jodie Sweetin, she runs this year-round Christmas store. At one point, they mentioned her ex-boyfriend. And the reason we're supposed to not like her ex-boyfriend is because he didn't like the fact that her whole life revolved around Christmas. And so he left her because he was tired of everything being Christmas. And this movie spins that in a way that, like, we're not supposed to think that's cool. Like, I was sitting there going, like, yeah, I would too, right? Like, if you were dating, like Dick, if Holly all of a sudden, if she worked at a year-round Christmas store, every joke she made was about Christmas, everything that her life was about was Christmas, like, would you be down for that? Or at some point, would you be like, hey, chill out, and can we just have a conversation about, like, something different?
I think it'd be like one of those like, oh, I love girls with quirks. And
Yeah.
that's one of those quirks that you'd get tired of real fast. But like, imagine.
But this movie frames it like he was a jerk. Like, oh, that punk, he left me.
Yeah, I would understand why.
Yeah.
What happened? Did she end up with a guy who like loved Halloween or something?
No, well, hold on. There's still more to come.
shoot.
So at one point, they're at the Santa school, and I'm just rapid firing through my points here. They're at the Santa school. The guy who's like the leader of the Santa school, besides actual Santa, he answers his cell phone and he starts speaking in another language out of nowhere.
Oh.
He starts speaking in another language out of nowhere, and then Jodie Sweetin's like, "What was that all about?" And he goes, "Oh, well, Santa goes to every child in the world, and so part of what we do in Santa school is we learn every language in the world so that we can."
Oh my goodness.
So apparently,
How's that even possible?
I don't know. I don't think it is. So I tuned out for a little while.
Rosetta Stone.
At one point, there was an eggnog making scene where they had like the almost kiss and the montage of like, "Ooh, try this eggnog. Ooh, you spilled it." Right? So that was all in there. The whole scene is that Jodie Sweetin is trying to go convince Santa's son to be Santa, even though he doesn't want to be Santa. And so he finally decides to become Santa. It's, whatever, not really that great of a payoff. It's like building to this big moment, and it's like, okay, fine. What I was realizing at one point was this is kind of like a Rambo movie or something, where you have like the guy who is the best, but he's turned his back on what it was. Like he's retired. I don't be Santa anymore. I've turned my back on that. But then finally, there's like a hot chick that convinces him to do it, and really that's what this whole movie is about. This whole movie is about the fact that that guys will do anything if a hot chick is asking him to do it, right? They will do absolutely anything if there's a hot chick begging him to do it. So, anyways, she took it real personally when he called her out because she's only running the year-round Christmas store because her parents owned it, and she said it's her legacy. And for some reason, that made him like, "Oh, you only like me because I could be Santa." And like that's the drama where they split, because in every movie they like fall in love, but they have to split up for a minute before they fall back in love. That was what they got as far as like how to separate them. Was he overheard her saying like, "My legacy is the most important thing to me," and he was like, "How dare you? How dare you bring me here just to protect your legacy?" But anyways, this was rough. From the whole beginning, you could tell that where it was going to go. The Ben guy, his parents are like overweight Santa and Mrs. Claus. He's like the most in shape, good looking guy in the world, but I guess they're related.
You just have to wait till he hits like 40.
Yeah,
that's when it starts going.
But hey, in the end, we all learn a valuable lesson about living out our own lives. And it was pretty special. I will say, Jodie Sweetin, her personal life, not so great. In real life, a little bit of a meth head there for a while.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, a little bit of a crack addict for a little while.
Well, she's a kid actress, so that's what like
alcoholic, crack, meth.
I bet that's like the opening line for an agent. Are you ready for your kid to either be highly successful or a crackhead?
Yeah, but
didn't Haley Joel Osment just get really big?
He just got fat.
He just got thick,
That's
man.
not too bad.
He got the bee sting.
No, he flipped his Jeep though. I remember that. Never mind.
Okay.
That's
Well,
off
anyways,
topic.
she's also been married and divorced 3 times and engaged and separated another time. So I don't know that she was the best role model for a movie about wholesome love and everything like that. But you know what? We all deserve a second chance, don't we?
I think so.
And that's really maybe the real takeaway of Finding Santa.
Yeah.
This one was rough. Maybe not as bad. It was short at least, and that was good.
To kind of sum up the show today, I'd be really interested to see the production process of making a Hallmark movie, because I feel like they do have it down. They have it down to where they could just make this movie in 2 weeks. People get paid their thousands of dollars, and then they got it in the can within 2 weeks. How long do you think it took to make your movie?
Yeah, I mean, not 3 weeks. I mean, less, much less. There was like four scenes, or backdrops.
Yeah.
There was like 6 characters that had lines. There was the quirky friend, but like most of them were no names except they were all no names, and then there was Jodie Sweetin.
Like to go off like that joke I had about Higgins.
Yeah.
A lot of the dialogue.
That was a great joke you had, by the way.
Well, I mean, like just if you watch the movie, you're gonna lose your mind.
Yeah.
But a lot of the dialogue was almost like you could have gone outside of the set. Here's your script for this scene, and it's so generic that you could just go and do it real quick. Because I felt like a lot of these folks, like Danny Glover, he was Danny Glover's like, he always had. He only had like 4 sentences. It seemed like.
Yeah.
But he didn't really do anything.
They weren't really diving deep to dig this role out from somewhere inside. All right, well, we've watched Finding Santa, Switched for Christmas, and The Christmas Train.
Yeah.
Man,
I can't wait for the
If
beach
you're listening
house.
right here, you got to go watch at least one of these because you owe it to yourself to suffer alongside us. We did it for you guys.
Yeah.
You can do it for us as well.
I wanted to point out real quick is Amtrak. I wanted to see what it was for DC to LA.
Yeah.
And this is what I love about it. So if you want to ride a train, it's going to take 4 days, 5 days.
Okay.
And if you sit in a seat, just a seat like an airplane
For 4
seat
days.
for 4 days, it's around $300 average.
That's affordable.
But if you want,
but just sitting in a seat.
I'm just kidding.
But if you want a room,
Yeah.
it's a $1,400, around $1,400 to $2,500.
So you could take a Southwest flight. for
Round
probably-
trip or one way?
one way.
That's crazy.
So you could take a
But the
Southwest
room
flight that would
itself,
take 3 hours.
the room
for
itself also has like
$129.
you could sit there with like 4 bedrooms, like 4 beds, so you can split it 4 ways. And you have-
okay.
and stuff like that. So.
Yeah, I guess people do that like for a vacation. Like I'm gonna ride the.
Well, no,
train.
that's what I'm saying. The whole movie that's the selling point. Like, I think they had a monologue with.
I can't believe no one rides trains.
Well, there was one guy
anymore.
on the train. He used to be a train person, and of course he gets hired at the end because he saves everyone's lives. But he's like always watching the weather, knowing what the train's doing, and he had a little monologue about what the beauty and the romanticism of a train, because it doesn't get you there fast enough, but it gets you there at enough time to where you can take a journey on yourself.
Yeah,
kind of stuff. Like it's very zen,
magical.
very zen, and maybe you
right.
want to ride a train. Not gonna lie,
I do.
I kind of want to. I mean,
I really do.
I liked it.
I'm less into it now than I was before. 4 days in a seat for $300.
What? Yeah,
We've got to wrap the show up. I do want to say the greatest line of Finding Santa. Ho ho no! Oh, they dropped that one. Yeah.
Hey, that's the Christmas with the Cranks tagline.
Oh, is it?
They
Well,
stole
okay,
that.
they totally jacked it.
Yeah,
I do want to say that the winner for the tickets this week, we got to give tickets away to the Grand. Jared Stewart was engaging us on social media, so thank you, Jared. You'll get those tickets this week. Make sure that you are watching, that you are liking, that you are retweeting, all of that great stuff. We'll be back next week with more movies to talk about. For Chris and Dick, this is Connor signing off on the Ticket Stub.
We'll see you guys later.
Thanks for checking out this podcast of Lone Star Community Radio, Montgomery County's community radio station. If you enjoyed this recording, make sure to check out our past shows online at irlonestar.com or their respective video or podcast formats on YouTube, Google Play, or iTunes. If you have any questions regarding the show, either it being about sponsorships or questions for the host, contact the station manager at dick@irlonestar.com or call the station at 936-647-3776. This show was recorded in downtown Conroe, Texas at the Lone Star Community Radio Studios, and Lone Star Community Radio reserves all rights to this recording and images.